Okay. So everyone, there's no news today. I mean, there probably is news. Like, there's some
We're
things
not
that we
talking
could
about
talk
it, though.
Consult your local hospital for the news.
Mood.
Check to see if the coup is ongoing.
Jesus Christ, it's ongoing. But what we're going to do today, we're going to have a sort of roundtable discussion talking a bit about the Game Awards, because their nominees just came out. Their website is up. And we're going to talk a bit about the nominees, actually probably a lot about the nominees, but also we want to talk a bit about their process. I have questions and concerns.
First of all, I'm angry that they're still not calling the Game Awards the Keigleys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can they call them the Keigleys? I want them to be called the Keigleys.
I don't want them to be called the Keigleys because I know Keighley's running it, but like if Keighley decides, you know what, fuck the Game Awards someday, I don't want the Game Awards to die. I think we need like a public like Game Awards show. I just think it needs to do different stuff.
I don't think that he'll ever, because like there have been moments where like the prospect of running a Game Awards show appeared to been taken from Jeff Keighley, but then he started like, I mean, like the reason we have the Game Awards is because like after Spike stopped, you know, stopped like airing a show on broadcast television, you know, he is, you know, he's like, I will self-fund an award ceremony. Like he was the one who went out there and got like massive business loans and like was self-funding this thing until it became a huge success.
That is true, but I feel like if we ever end up in a future where the Game Awards no longer does what Keighley wants and also fails to serve him, I think he might leave it. I mean, something similar happened with E3 this year, albeit through under extenuating circumstances, but still.
Sure. Okay. All right, I'll grant you that. But like, I also think that the reason that Keighley walked away from, I will give Jeff Keighley this. I think the reason he walked away from E3 was that he did not think that E3 as it exists served the gaming public.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I will give Jeff Keighley a lot of shit. You know, like anybody who has ever had a man dressed up as a giant dancing razor robot, you know, show up anywhere, like he deserves a certain amount of shit. But like the length of time that he has been piloting the Game Awards, it has done nothing but like track upwards in presentation.
That's true.
It has gotten better year after year. And in a world where like on balance award shows themselves do the exact opposite, like watching the Tonys or the Grammys or the Oscars is an exercise in fucking patience. You're just like, Jesus Christ, like why am I here? Like at this point you might as well just like sit out like one guy in a turtleneck, read all the winners, and then I'll call it a day, because like what you're doing does not feel like a celebration of these industries that I care about. You know, I'm not like super invested in like Broadway, but like I would love if the Oscars didn't suck.
Well, yeah.
You know, I would love if the Emmys didn't suck. I would love if the Grammys weren't terrible. You know, like, but these things are all true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where like the MTV Movie Awards are like so bad that they're kind of like this like weird self-aware parody where they know that they're terrible. And the show is about it being terrible. So like, kudos to Keighley. I hope that the future you're talking about, Rocky, never happens, and that our beautiful Dorito Pope continues to shepherd the Game Awards.
I'm never calling him that.
Okay, look, man, those photos exist and they're still funny.
Yeah. No,
you know, the pictures of him like sitting there in like the canvas director's chair with that glum look on his face, Doritos on one side, Mountain Dew on the other. It just feels like Stuck in the Middle with You should be playing, and it's just so fucking great. All right. Well, let's talk some Game Awards this year. Rocky, did you want to talk about like systemic issues or like the way the awards are decided first, or do you want to dig into the nominees first?
I want to talk about the nominees first. It's the meat. You know, we spent a lot of time not talking about video games today. Maybe we should spend a little time doing that.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Just a bit of time.
For the record, I liked the Badstronaut game, and IO got my dick hard.
Yeah, that's fair. That's the short version.
The record so shall reflect. Anyhow, the Game Awards is, without getting too deep into it, the Game Awards is an award show where games are nominated mostly by publications that the Game Awards is essentially like checked off on. There are publications that they specifically trust, and they ask them what should be Game of the Year, what should be Best Fighting Game, what should be Best Sports Game, etc. And they produce like an unranked list, and they compile that data. From that data, they put together a list of nominees, and then they do a show. They also include fan votes, but they've told us that fan votes only really constitute about 10% for various reasons, and we'll get into those later. But what we're talking about are the games that have been mostly nominated by these trusted publications. The nominees for Game of the Year, which is representative of who these people believe is the best video game that came out in 2020, are Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, I think, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and The Last of Us Part 2. There are a few of these games that have fans on this show too, specifically Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and Animal Crossing New Horizons. And a couple of them are blind spots. Like, for example, I'm not going to play The Last of Us Part 2. And I know most of us haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think, Brian, did you ever finish Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I haven't.
Okay.
Like, I just got distracted by stuff that, like, was, you know... It's a lot easier to go, like, shake fruit from trees than to, like...
I heard a lot about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but that's because, like, my entire friend group was playing it and, like, live tweeting while they were playing, so...
Right.
You know.
Well, I mean, it also had the benefit of, like, Animal Crossing New Horizons coming out right at the beginning of the fucking pandemic. True. And so, like, back when so many people thought that what this was going to be was just a month-long snow day, like, people got way hard into it.
God, this is going to be a pain in the ass trying to explain to people. So, like, what do you mean the coronavirus, it just lasts, like, 2 weeks? So why were you locked in your apartment for a year, Grandpa? It's like, well, kid...
Why is Grandma weird about toilet paper? Why is it that every time she thinks something bad is happening, she goes to the store and stocks up on toilet paper? Why do we get toilet paper in our stockings for Christmas? It's gonna be like my grandma wants an orange in her stocking for Christmas. Like, that's what they always got growing up because of the Great Depression. And so, like, she gets us oranges on Christmas. And I was like, why? And I finally got the answer. I'm like, I'm over 30 now and I finally got the answer. It's because of the Great Depression. All my grandkids are getting toilet paper. Like, and they're gonna be like, why does Grandma always give us masks and toilet paper? What the fuck?
Oh, God. And, anyways, back to video games. None of us played Doom Eternal, I think, right? Brian, you didn't play Doom Eternal? Tegan didn't play Doom Eternal.
No, I did not.
I didn't play it. I watched Alex play it.
For sure.
But I played it!
I kind of wanted to, but, like, not enough to, like... It was kind of the... You know that, like, I'm a little bit curious about this, but not enough to, like, get it over the hump.
Right. Sure.
Even not as much as, like, Emotional Trauma Simulator 2.
For sure.
Like, I still kind of, like, feel an obligation to, like, spend time. But, like, you know, like, December is our, like, orgy of catching up. And
you just call it catch-up month? It didn't have to be an orgy. It's not necessary. Come on.
You know. And one of the things that I'm definitely going to make an effort to spend time with during that month is Emotional Trauma Simulator 2.
Okay. Because
of, like, several choices it makes as a game, which I'm interested in. Doom Eternal seems to just be more Doom, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Doom's on the up and up and shit.
Yeah, like, there's no problem with that. Like, there's no problem with Doom being more Doom, which is good. Like, now, what I thought was interesting about this list was how well reviewed Assassin's Creed Valhalla has been, and it is not on this list. Like,
I think that might be an eligibility issue. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that, like, Game Awards stuff tends to cut off around November. But I'd have to check. I don't know for sure, but I think that might be eligibility. It'll probably be on the FAQs later.
I was gonna say, like, I guess we'll know if we see it in any other categories.
Right.
But, like, by all accounts, like, you know, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is scratching the itch of so many Zelda fans and Assassin's Creed fans. It is this year's one of those. That seems to be a thing. Like, because, like, looking here, like, I don't really see, like, I mean, I guess Ghost of Tsushima is one of those, but, like, kind of not really. Like, the more, like, you get into the game, like, it feels less like that and more like something different.
Okay,
like,
I have scrolled down the whole list. It is not on here.
Yeah.
It's not in any category. Oh, wait, that's a lie. It's in one category.
Oh,
Best
really?
Action Adventure.
Wild.
Oh.
Okay, then, all right.
But I'm not seeing it anywhere else.
So, I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, the thing that each of these games actually have in common is that when they came out, and, you know, the subsequent months when people got to really chew on them, they all emerged as phenomena, like, specifically. Doom Eternal, like, rallied, like, the people who love Doom, but also, like, was just, like, a thing that people were talking about, albeit less than maybe the other ones. And, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake is kind of, you know, like, a 20-year coming 13-year-old's, like, wet dream or whatever, which is cool. Like, I think...
Well, something else I want to specifically call about Final Fantasy VII Remake is that Final Fantasy VII Remake kind of, like, stood in the face of the rules about remake and defied them, and like people had to like sit there and go like, okay, is this truly a remake of Final Fantasy VII, or is it some kind of like heretofore like unexplored new territory? Because it appears to be that Final Fantasy VII Remake is doing storytelling about the nature of remakes.
Okay, so I've heard you talk about this before. I don't think I agree with you, but I've never actually heard you out. Do you mind expanding?
Okay, so there are places where in the game it appears to be that like Cloud has like foresight about the game, and there is language used within the game kind of like that he's like aware that the game has happened before.
Brian, I don't think he's thinking about the game. That's actually consistent with the narrative of Final Fantasy VII because of like Cloud's particular history as a character. And while some things have definitely changed in Remake, those kinds of like flashbacks aren't like meta-textual. Like they're still contained within the narrative.
I don't know, man. Like it appears to me that like the entire world of game criticism disagrees with you.
Okay.
Yeah. And that like in interviews with Square where they're talking about this, they're like, hey, is this intentional? Is this metatextual? The answer that has been given is yes.
I'd like to see it, but okay. Go on.
Okay, well then I will leave that research to you, but like you'll find it. The resources are easy to find, and like it's cool. I did not expect anything that ambitious from a remake from Square because they could easily have just been like, "Hey, ching cash," and like you know, like approaching and criticizing the nature of remakes. I thought was above their pay grade.
Okay, because you're saying specifically that Final Fantasy VII Remakes basically challenges the idea of what a remake is and what it does. I'm not sure.
So is the game called Final Fantasy VII Remake a remake of part of Final Fantasy VII Remake? I'm sorry, is it a remake of part of Final Fantasy VII, or is it a new game that uses parts of Final Fantasy VII storytelling to tell a new story?
Okay, yeah. So Brian, that's what I'm saying. That language to me sounds like a distinction without a difference. Because like it's not a remaster, right? Like they're not just remaking like a 1-to-1 or even like maybe a 1-to-4 like recreation of like the PS1 game. They're telling the story with these characters, and they're changing things about gameplay and like likely of narrative as well. Well, obviously of narrative as well. There's definitely some things that really changed by the end of chapter 1 or whatever. But I'm still convinced that that's within the realm of remake. I don't see the challenge is what I'm concerned about.
Okay, and like that's interesting. That's interesting to me. Just like I find your perspective interesting because like if you change things about the plot and you have a character who can sense the differences in the plot.
See, okay, that's okay. If
it's okay,
yeah, that's like okay. Go ahead.
All right, so like let's say you make like you make a new movie. Like a new Raiders of the Lost Ark. This time you've got Ryan Gosling. He's Indiana Jones this time, and it gets to the part in Raiders of the Lost Ark where like Indiana Jones is just like, I don't have time for this shit, and he just like shoots the guy,
right?
Instead, you know, with the whip,
right?
Only this time, Indy like does get into a whip fight with him, and then like afterwards, like Ryan Gosling's like, I should have just shot him, and like kind of gets all dark. And it's like, Indy will remember that. You know, like you're connecting the film with the film that came before. You're making the movie aware of the previous film.
Yeah, that's okay. I understand why that's interesting. That still sounds like a remake to me. And so Cloud in Final Fantasy VII specifically, he is definitely a former soldier or whatever. But the problem is that he believes that he is a different soldier, essentially. That's brought up in like the second disc or whatever. And eventually that form of reality doesn't coalesce with the one that he's currently living, and he like essentially breaks down because of it. And once he's able to separate like these divergent pasts that he was technically part of, but just not in the perspective that he seems to remember, like he's able to like become a different person in his own right. Like that's That's something that straight up happens in Final Fantasy VII. And so, like, Cloud, like, seeing things in his, like, current, like, even in Midgar, because, I mean, while there wasn't a lot of it, it's obviously expanded in the remake, still seems consistent with that character arc, and it doesn't seem that it's larger than, like, the game itself. And I might be wrong, but, like, I'm not sure how.
And I guess to circle back to our larger topic and kind of keep us focused, that's kind of what makes Final Fantasy VII Remake worthy of inclusion in a category like this and worthy of this kind of discussion.
Okay.
Because if the game can pose this kind of questions and get differing answers which are entirely sincere and articulated, then, like, it's a game worth talking about.
Sure.
Like, there is a reason that Final Fantasy VII Remake, despite being named Final Fantasy VII Remake, is in this category. Like,
yeah, no question.
Most remakes do not rise to this kind of conversation.
That's true.
You see how I got us refocused without getting lost in the weeds? I should do that more as host.
I'd love to see you do it twice.
Okay, good times.
I don't know what else I want to say about these things. Like, I mean, I'm going to talk about the middle three, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and, like, Animal Crossing, like, in our Game of the Year conversation. I think they deserve to be here. Right. No, the main thing I was trying to talk about was, like, phenomena. Like, the things that, like, Game of the Year conversations, which, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer, but it's not just because of, like, the technical proficiency and, like, the way that it's able to affect its players, but it's also that it, like, affects players on such a large scale. And while they also, like, you know, are able to generate, like, separate experiences, the way that, like, Brian and I can both look at Final Fantasy VII Remake and, like, think and feel different things about it, but we can both agree that those things that we thought and felt about were worthwhile. And I feel like that I'm not going to get too deep into it, but there are things that aren't on this list that may have, like, eligibility questions that I don't know the answers to yet that I might just yell about later.
There is a game that I am very bummed it did not make this list.
Okay.
Which I thought for sure would have, because it had the same kind of splashy arrival that Animal Crossing New Horizons, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Doom Eternal did, where it arrived right at the beginning of the pandemic, and it won a lot of people's heart at that time, which was Maneater. And Maneater was a shit ton of fun because it was like this ridiculous open world exploration game, which was a total power fantasy and also, like, co-opted mechanics of an obscure Super Nintendo game, you know, like Evo, and it was just like, all right, like, power fantasy where you're doing Evo shit, and also, like, the game focuses heavily on, like, really well delivered comedy. And
this is that shark game.
Yes.
Yeah, and it has, like, all these, like, strange, like, side quests that are totally worth doing.
I don't remember hearing anything about Maneater. Did we talk about it?
Brian definitely talked about Maneater.
Okay, I literally do not remember this game at all. My bad.
Okay, like, because I definitely went on and on about it for, like,
He did.
I believe that you did, but also, I have no recollection of this game. I literally had to Google it after you said the name of it.
All right.
So that might be a reason why it's not on this list. I will say one thing about this list for sure. Mm-hmm. In any other year, Animal Crossing New Horizons should not be on this list.
That's fair.
In any other other year, would not be on here.
In fact, I would say that, like, and I don't think that I'm going to fight with Tegan if I say this. I think that it probably shouldn't be here this year. I think that, like, if what we're looking at right now is these games as cohesive, complete art object experiences, is this game one of the best games of the year? Animal Crossing New Horizons probably isn't that, but I would say that if they had a category called most important shared experience when we all thought we were going to fucking die, it would win that category hands down.
Yeah. This is a Game of the Year conversation where, like, the reason that Animal Crossing is in here is because it was a shared moment of, like, brightness when everything was going to shit. Like, that's why it's here. It's a good game. I've definitely been playing it for 8 months, but, like, in any other normal year, it would not be here. It would be part of our Game of the Year conversation, specifically because I dumped so much fucking time into it, and for no other reason.
I mean,
Well, I think there are other reasons to be part of the game.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I would put it in our Game of the Year, like, in our top 10 Game of the Year conversation. Like, I would force it down there because it was such a big game for me.
I don't think that you would have to. You're talking about having to ram it through it. I don't think that you would find.
I don't think I'd have to ram it through. I just think, like, we would put it on there, and in any other year, everyone would be like, why the fuck is this here?
I think people are doing that now, but I think that leads to a very important conversation about, like, what games really are. I actually like the fact that Animal Crossing New Horizons is here. And honestly, if it came out next year instead of this year, I think I'd argue for it to be here anyways. Like, I think Animal Crossing is actually a really great experience. I think it's kind of janky sometimes. I can accept that, but I could attribute jank to any of these games if I'm being honest. I think the way that, like, Animal Crossing is a particular phenomena that draws a particular audience in a large scale, but still is, like, accessible, like, in a very good way, is really important for, like, games as, like, a, I don't know, touch point.
Right, and, like, Animal Crossing does have, like, ongoing service features.
Right.
Which I feel like other games could take note of, in a weird way. But
I'm telling you, when we get, like, the first, like, real, like, episodic JRPG, Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't count. Like, the world is going to change. It's going to be wild.
I believe it. Okay, anyway.
All right, so leaving this category, the next one down is Best Game Direction, which has a lot of the people we just talked about, a lot of games we just talked about. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. But a new player here is Half-Life Alyx, which was designed by Valve and was their big VR offering this year. I didn't play Half-Life Alyx. I didn't do it.
I didn't either.
I have to say that this is the first year that I felt like VR was a blind spot for Impossible Coin. That in previous years, like I felt like our VR reporting, our VR coverage, that it was fine, that it was this thing that, like, occurred, you know, in the distance, and that, like, we talked about it as, like, a news object. We're like, VR, it's a thing, but, like, it kind of felt like, and I wonder if this is also the pandemic, it kind of felt like VR became more important socially this year. I remember one of my favorite headlines from this year was furries have taken over Four Seasons Total Landscaping in VR. In VR chat, someone had created a instance which was a map of the Four Seasons Total Landscaping, which is where the dumb Trump press conference was, and the instance was overrun with furries, and, like, became kind of like a social phenomenon for a few days. Or the house on Blue Lake Road, which we talked about on the show, was turned into a map in VR chat, and people were, like, hanging out there, and that, like, it feels like things are increasingly happening in VR. And I think that this year, you know, we probably could have, like, confined our VR coverage to, like, you know, being hands-on with, like, literally just two titles, which is VR Chat and Half-Life Alyx, and had enough. But, like, I feel like those are things that we should have touched, which is...
Okay, but who on our team has VR? Do you have VR, Brian?
I do not have the VR.
Do you have VR, Rocky?
No.
I have PlayStation VR, and I have an Oculus. So, I guess that would have been my fucking job, and I guess it'll be my job going forward. My bad. I will be on it next year.
Say hello to our new, our VR correspondent, Tegan Somerset.
Hi, it's me. I will do my best. The PlayStation VR that I have is secondhand, and it does need, we need to fix the video cable in it, but that's nothing like me and my dad can't do together, so it's no big deal. But I do have an Oculus. I'm sorry. I'll try to be better about it. My bad.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I mean, that's part of the reason why...
I will start fucking around in VR.
Oh, shit.
That's part of the reason why I've invited Stu on the show, you know, more than once, is because Stu is, like, so excited about VR, and, like, he's angry about, like, different corporations on the reg than we are, because he sees the, you know, the promise of what VR can be, but like Facebook is over here.
Yeah, fucking around. I gotcha.
Face fucking everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Delicious. Love getting face fucked. Wish I didn't have to say that sentence out loud.
So yeah, I feel like Half-Life Alyx is a blind spot. I want to play this video game.
I'll put it on a list. Hang on, let me make a list. I need a pen.
We still have time.
Yeah, I still got time.
I
still have to fuck around with Captain Spirit. Nope, not Captain Spirit, the other one. Life is Strange 2.
Oh, tell me why?
Is it? Whatever. Anyway, the one with the two boys. That one, it didn't qualify for a Game of the Year conversation last year because of our arbitrary cutoff date.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm meaning to fuck around with it this year, but I forgot about having feelings until, like, October. When did we start playing Spiritfarer? That's when I remembered that emotions were important again.
It's either late September. Oh, also, Brian, another thing you may have to add to your list is this thing that's here for Best Narrative, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Apparently, it's a cross-genre, like, RPG. And it's gotten good reviews, like, generally. I don't know about its, like, narrative specifically, but, like, apparently it's a good video game.
It's also a vanillaware game, which sets off my interest.
And, you know, for everyone else in Best Narrative, like, they're here. Also, I don't want to downplay this because I've said Hades twice and not gushed about it, but Hades is a fucking fantastic video game.
It's so good.
It seems like something I gotta, especially as someone who decided this year was the year to read the Percy Jackson books. I feel like I really do deserve to fuck with it. So I have added it to my list. My list is now 2 games long: Half-Life Alyx and Hades. So we'll get to it. We got time.
Yeah, like it is a beautifully rendered game with very interesting ideas about the interactions of like these Olympians and like a very sympathetic and like well-written cast, including like its main character. Its gameplay is tight and it is fun. You can play as fast or as slow as you want. There are many options in like interacting with any particular space, and there are just about as many options to simply go apeshit. It's so great.
It's oftentimes very, very hard to have a satisfying gameplay experience in a roguelike where the way you normally play video games is as a turtling coward. It just, like, you cannot play Spelunky as a turtling coward, right? Because, you know, after 2 minutes in a level, death comes for you. Mm-hmm. It's unavoidable. And after 4 minutes, a second death shows up. So, oh my god, I need to play Spelunky 2. Fuck me, fuck my butt. God damn it, Spelunky 2. I have not played Spelunky 2. I'm made of garbage.
Oh, so you're not going to get to the Cosmic Ocean before, like, the thing. You might just want to watch, like, a run of that.
Oh.
He might. You never know.
No, like, okay, so Tegan, the Cosmic Ocean is legit insane. Like, it's not just a level. Not only do you have to do, like, this crazy, like, perfect run where you have to gather very specific items for very specific interactions that take about 2 hours to do anyways. When you unlock the Cosmic Ocean, it's now a gauntlet of 99 levels that you have to, like, gather particular items and, like, activate doors to, or activate switches, which is already laden with, like, high-level Spelunky traps. Like, there was a guy who tried to run a Spelunky, or run, like, Cosmic Ocean, and he got to the 87th floor after 4 hours of gameplay, and then his PS4 shut down, and he had to start over again.
Oh no, that sounds like garbage.
It's a lot.
I would literally murder everything. Everything, everyone.
I actually argue that for something like Spelunky or Spelunky 2, that, like, beating, you know, like, you do not need to complete an eggplant run to have, like, an understanding of the Spelunky experience. Like, Spelunky is about that brutal feeling of getting crushed and then just starting right back up. Spelunky is about the quick restarts, and every run is different, and every run has a story, which is also something which, like, most roguelikes can't say effectively.
Sure.
But part of what's so beautiful about Hades is not only is every run as a story, there's enough stuff, there's enough connective tissue between the runs that, like, you still feel like you're doing something larger and something bigger.
Right.
Which is something that a lot of roguelikes really fail at doing. Rogue Legacy did it well, you know, because of the whole, like, you know, genetic heritage piece. But, like, a lot of roguelikes do that bad. This does not. Strong reco. Hades. Like, obviously it's going to be a large part of our end of year conversation.
I'll figure it out. I'll get in on it.
For sure. I hope you have a good time.
We'll find out if I do.
For sure. Next one is Best Art Direction, which, also includes, Final Fantasy, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Last of Us Part 2. I think you might be seeing a pattern. But there is a new addition here, which is Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is a technically beautiful game that I have not played enough of. But it's always pretty to look at, even better in HD. And this one of the few games that actually made me care about frame rates. There was a week, I don't feel that way anymore, but there definitely was a week where I was really excited about potentially getting an Xbox Series X so I could play this game in 4K at 120 frames because it just looks that much prettier when I'm playing it. Everything is like hand drawn and the motion is super smooth and like ethereal and like beautiful, and it's definitely an incredible game to look at, and it's a pretty damn good platformer on top of it.
I enjoyed the first Ori game, so yeah, I'm sure this is great.
Yeah.
I think it's on Game Pass, so I think I can also fuck with this.
Yes.
Thank God for Alex having Game Pass, honestly.
Okay, and then the next one is Best Score in Music, and Final Fantasy VII Remake, Doom Eternal, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, The Last of Us Part 2, and Hades. All these they have great scores.
Does The Last of Us Part 2 have a great score? I don't know. I haven't heard it.
I've heard bits and pieces of like Last of Us 2's like score, and the music is like technically beautiful. I don't know how well they handle moments and whatnot.
Okay, that's fair.
But I do think that the music that is the backdrop of the game is beautiful.
We were supposed to borrow The Last of Us Part 2, and we just keep forgetting.
Yeah, my brother's been trying to lend it to me too.
Yeah.
And honestly, Best Score is a place where I do feel like Doom is a blind spot. Because, like, holy shit, the last Doom's music was... You know that feeling when you're 12 and you get extra mozzarella sticks?
I used to call them Mazzies.
Yeah, well, that's what the music to Doom sounds like. You know, I have no doubt that feeling has been replicated again. Like, there is something about, like, it's absolutely, like, playful, silly, over-the-top dick metal that is executed so well.
But, Brian, let me talk to you about my man, Darren Korb.
You do not have to. I am part of the church.
Darren Korb has been putting out banger after banger for a decade. Ever since he started working with Supergiant Games on fucking Bastion. And he's a weird dude, right? Like, he doesn't subscribe to, like, the type of, like, popular, like, music ideas that people do with. Like, he does, like, just incredible folk stuff with, like, insane key signatures and, like, full orchestras and just weird fucking arrangements. And, like, this game, like, leans a lot more on vocals than they did previously. Like, in older games like Pyre and Transistor and Bastion, they all had this thing where they had meticulously crafted, like, themes and, like, level tracks, and then there was, like, particular themes that, like, didn't get vocals until, like, the last possible moment. And in Hades is one of those things. God, I love this saying. Like, it's, like, an awesome thing because it doesn't hold back. Like, it hits you in the vocals as soon as possible, and it's because they have further up to go. When fucking Orpheus and, what's her name? Elidipus? That's not right. When they're finally reunited and they sing their duet, which is just two halves of a song that you've been hearing since, like, the beginning of the game, when it's finally put together, it's fucking amazing. And, like, it's all because you kept playing. And that's all you really had to do.
I feel like shouting out Darren Korb is incomplete without shouting out Ashley Barrett.
That's fair. That's fair.
And it's one of those situations where, like, when you, like, the first time I ever heard Ashley Barrett's voice, like, I was just like, oh my, I feel like I'm Will Ferrell in an elf costume, screaming, like, oh, it's just angel singing, just like, and then you find out, like, no, like, she has an office job at Supergiant. She just also sings on these games.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you for real? And like, yep, nope. That is like, it is very much. It's. I think people still underestimate just how small an operation Supergiant is. That, like, you know, the person who has provided so many of these amazing vocals for Corb's compositions, like, again, Sid Sebastian works in the office there, but just, I think I got, like, fully, like, sold into the Barrett camp, like, on Transistor.
That's fair. Yeah.
But, like, her work on Hades is, like, no fucking slouch.
True.
None. Yeah. Such good stuff.
Okay, so yeah, audio design is definitely a different statement. Last of Us Part 2 is still here. I don't know if it deserves to be here, but that's a whole other thing. We're not going to talk about that right now.
It's just everywhere. It's literally, it's been in every fucking category. I'm exhausted of it already.
Well, that's another thing that, like, the Game Awards specifically does. They, like, line up a game for everything. Even if it doesn't win everything, like, they shout it out in everything. And, like, last year, it sort of got a pass. Because, like, last year was fucking Death Stranding. Death Stranding is actually a really incredible
Death Stranding was a
game.
great game.
Right.
Still a great game.
And it's definitely well-rounded in all, like, its major parts. But, like, because, like, I'm not sure if it needed to be, like, recognized or nominated in every single category, but it fucking was. Part of that, like, could have been, Keighley's relationship with Kojima, or even just, like, Kojima's, like, popularity as a host unto himself. But The Last of Us Part 2 doesn't necessarily have that clout. I mean, they are still Naughty Dog, sort of, honestly, because Naughty Dog has definitely lost some key personnel over the years that I don't think we have the scope to talk about. Because we're, 3 hours in? Who knows?
But I also think that, like, the way, like, let's talk about, like, Joe Gamer here.
Sure.
Like, the three of us are, for the most part, in the tall grass, and we're talking about stuff like, like who are key players at key studios, and like that's the thing that we keep track of.
Y'all are in the tall grass. I'm in a tree, like, and I'm watching you guys go through the tall grass, going, yeah, it looks like it's further that way. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Brian, I get what you mean, but, like, also, I don't think the Game Awards has, like, built its reputation, or, like, is interested in further expanding that reputation by, like, talking down to the people that they're showing. Like, maybe people recognize Naughty Dog and they want to put Naughty Dog everywhere, and that does feed into, like, the Kojima thing that maybe that's what they're doing. And even if they are, it still fucking sucks. And, like, they should do something a bit more honest in, like, recognizing the games that did well over a particular year.
Yeah. I think that Sony has also done a job of trying to, like, separate itself from, like, the reputation of, like, auteurs. When you talk about, like, major first-party releases from, like, Sony Studios, like, people will sometimes, like, bring up, like, Cory Barlog, but, like, for the most part, the way, like, Sony's fandom addresses Sony's output is they're like, I love Sony games!
Right.
And Nintendo has successfully had it both ways.
Yeah.
Like, Nintendo's fandom, like, is like, I love Nintendo games, and also, like, fetishizes auteurs. Like, no more so than, like, Sakurai, like, who, like, people, like, have built altars to in their home, and they, like...
I don't feel like the Smash Brothers community counts.
Yeah, I mean, the Smash Brothers community is...
They're wild.
They're a problem. They're
like their own thing. Can we put them in a pen?
Oh my god, that's what I forgot to yell about in banter this week. Whatever, I'm not gonna do it. I'll do it some other time.
We'll do it later.
Yeah, fucking whatever. Moments
We'll
pass.
do it live.
I agree that maybe, like, venerating auteurs is problematic from, like, the developer, like, publisher position.
Like, and the thing is it's one of those things which is, like, right and wrong for multiple reasons.
Right.
Like, one, games are, unless they're, like, Undertale or Downwell, games are made by more than one person.
Right.
And so when we start to, like, fetishize auteurs like, Kojima, we kind of, like, denigrate and disregard the choices that are made by the hundreds and sometimes thousands of people, like in cases of, like, Assassin's Creed that worked on the game.
Sure.
But I certainly don't think that, like, Sony is interested in, flattening the perspective of game development to their customers for that reason. I think the reason that they do it is so that way you don't get guys who become valuable to a point where they, like, have to pay them big bucks, or fans will believe that a game is less that game. Like,
right.
They don't want there to be a Mr. God of War or a Mr. Last of Us, because then they would have to pay that guy more.
I mean, it happened to Konami. I mean, Konami was legitimately fucking up, but it did happen to Konami.
Yeah. There was a Mr. Metal Gear. Oh my god, the word.
Metal Gear Solid?
Those are all of the words I wanted to say. Yeah, that man existed, and like when they tried to release a Metal Gear game after he was gone in the form of like the Metal Gear Survive game where you're just like fending off hordes of zombies.
Yeah.
The collective Metal Gear community shit on the game and said this is not Metal Gear.
Well, I mean, it wasn't Metal Gear. And I understand that this is a really weird line to draw in the sand, but like, I don't think Konami, just because they own the name Metal Gear, gets to tell us what Metal Gear is. Like, I understand that this is a really odd position to stand in, but like, that's where I'm at. If Nintendo fucked up Mario, if Mario suddenly like wasn't a type platformer anymore, but they told us it was still fucking Mario, I don't think we'd have to take that. That's not the way I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't think that's how Mario works. You know,
if they did something ridiculous, like put like a water cannon on his back, and like
it's still a platformer at that point, though.
Yeah, and it was janky, but like it still felt like Mario when you jumped.
Yeah, it'd be like if they took the ghost part out of Luigi's Mansion. If Luigi doesn't have a vacuum cleaner and is running around going Mario, then it's not a Luigi game. That's it. You know?
If like Wario like suddenly doesn't care about gathering all the coins, is it really a Wario game?
I'm sorry, if Luigi doesn't have the vacuum cleaner and he's just wandering around and there's no ghost, is it now just like a Luigi Dementia Simulator?
I mean, maybe if he's still
spooked. It's a Luigi
spooked.
Panic Attack Simulator. He's just got high anxiety. It's okay. It's Luigi Mental Health Simulator.
Luigi's just trying to go to his desk job, but like, you know, he's just terrified.
Yep.
Of like,
oh, Mario, I don't have enough spoons.
oh my god. Oh, no.
Oh, poor Luigi.
Man, I don't know. But anyways, as far as like audio design goes, also like the newcomer here, I mean, Half-Life Alice gets to come back in the clubhouse, and Resident Evil 3 is here. I don't know why Resident Evil 3 is here. I sincerely don't. Like,
Did anybody play Resident Evil 3?
I played a bit of Resident Evil 3. I decided not to finish it. It's not as good as Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Okay, fair enough.
And so like, and I wanted to play Resident Evil 3 because I was interested in like the asymmetrical multiplayer thing that they were doing. Where like you were a bunch of like Resident Evil like player characters like running around some area, and there's some guy like pulling all the levers in like, you know, the closed circuit TV room, like fucking with people. It seemed like that they were on to something in like creating a rewarding asymmetrical like gameplay experience, which is something that people have been chasing since like Mario Party 3. And you know, it didn't pan out. They don't have it yet. It's not done. So whatever.
I guess they should get back in the lab.
Well, yeah, man. Like, but you know, there's plenty of like asymmetrical like experiences that are like developing. It'll be years until like anything like bears fruit. That's if and only if they can keep their player base up. But
so, okay, I have like a general thought on what we've seen so far.
Sure.
Supergiant may be comparatively smaller than some of these other studios, but like Supergiant is like compared to other air quotes indie studios significantly larger and is able to do things like mount a marketing budget for an awards push.
Okay, yeah, so I think we can address this here. It's in the FAQ, but apparently Game Awards swears that there's no entry fee, there's no marketing for like particular games. They don't have relationships with publishers. So like the nominations that are showing up are strictly due to their voter base, which is another thing that we can talk about. But I don't think that the Game Awards specifically are being lobbied by these companies, or so they say.
Well, you don't have to necessarily like lobby the entity. What you want to do is lobby the voting body.
Right.
Yeah. And Sony can put together a
wine and cheese basket for The Guardian. I know.
Yeah, exactly. And Sucker Punch can lean on its like Sony ownership to do the same, and Naughty Dog can do the same. And I'm sure that like Capcom can send out like 5 wine and cheese baskets to the wrong people because they're Capcom and they just thought they were doing a good job. But like, and it's also going to go down to like, what does ownership look like at these studios? Do people like them? What kind of relationships do they have?
Sure.
And like Supergiant has a reputation of they're all good people over there. They're good folks at Supergiant. And so like the amount,
you got to remember that Supergiant may also have like Epic backing currently.
Right. Exactly. Rocky, that is a hell of a point.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you have, like they're not directly owned by Epic,
No.
but they have this deal with Epic
Right.
for PC availability of Hades, which at this point would bring attention to the Epic Store.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have a studio which already has a positive industry reputation and the people like the management there, they like the staff there, they are predisposed to liking the people who work there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for purposes of like trying to come up with like an easily understood like name, like, you know, to describe this phenomenon in the industry, we'll call it like Dave Lang syndrome. It is a studio populated by people that everyone likes and everyone trusts. It's a good place. And so, like, if you have a place which is already kind of like running ahead there, and then you have like a smaller marketing budget, but a marketing budget nonetheless from like a large shadowy corporation like Epic, if somebody like just like sends like you something which is like for your consideration, even if all it is just like a mailed postcard that just says like for your consideration,
Right.
Hades, you're like, oh yeah,
Makes it that much easier. I get it.
yeah. I feel compelled to mention it because I think that when we get to Games for Impact, there are games in Games for Impact that I feel should, in a more aware voting body, appear in some of these earlier categories.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I am absolutely all right, you know what? I don't want to get ahead of myself. All right. So I think what was it? Next up is like best performance?
Best performance. Yeah. Weird thing is that well, with the exception of maybe Logan Cunningham, and, you know, I believe Logan Cunningham and Laura Bailey are really great performances. I don't feel that great about Ashley Johnson's, but given like the arc that like...
But wait, you haven't played that game, right?
I haven't played it, no.
Okay.
And I like Jin Sakai, but I don't think he had the best performance in that game.
He was very much like it felt like a samurai in a traditional Japanese samurai movie.
Right.
Which is like a great thing to encapsulate in this traditional samurai game, but was it the best performance? Like,
Right.
There's that whole thing. And I don't know anything about Miles Morales. Apparently it's great.
Yeah, I do like the voice actor for Miles Morales.
I'm straight up pissed off that Chris Parnell, who was the narrator in Maneater, is not here. One of my favorite things from video games this year is the narrator from Maneater. His jokes were flawless. Like, just so many jokes where he's just like, there's one where you're just like swimming along and eat a turtle, and you're like, yes, along these shores, people would have cotillions, and then continue to uphold the institution of slavery, just like deadpans it, and you're like, Jesus Christ, or like, you're like, here's what people do here. Like, just like, he, like, so many different, really, like, either jokes about, like, the hokey, ridiculous way that the game handles evolution, because it has to, because of it, you know, it's a game mechanic where you're, like, forcing your shark to evolve, or, like, really hokey jokes about, you know, the nature of open world games, or the kind of cartoonish nature of this particular open world game, and how that kind of, like, parallels, you know, like Rockstar open worlds, like just a feast of comedy that would have come across as bad if it had been poorly delivered. And like, I have not spent so much time just like laughing on my fucking couch playing a video game as I did because of the narrator in Maneater. Like, whole premise of the game, which is that you are a viewer watching something during Shark Week on like television, and that this is the guy narrating it. Is like a great conceit that would have been terrible if executed poorly.
Right.
So like, yeah, like I was like, where's Chris Parnell? Where is he? The guy turned in like a heroic fucking performance. And like, I could easily lose. There was nothing that was going on in Ghost of Tsushima that I thought was like especially compelling from like a performance perspective. I'm not saying that they were bad, but like there's nothing there that like I'm not writing home to mama. Like, I definitely agree that Logan Cunningham deserves to be here, but like, I could easily, you know, you're just speaking from stuff I know. I could lose this performance for like Ghost of Tsushima, like, easily.
All right. Well, we'll move on. Oh, here we are, Games for Impact, which is what was it? For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message? Like, you fucking cowards! Whatever. Just like, the games that are here are If Found, Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, which is, you know, closing out the Kentucky Route Zero, like, series, essentially. Spiritfarer, which is damn near one of the best video games that came out this year.
Yep.
Tell Me Why, which is kind of cool, to be honest. I don't know if I'd call it my favorite game, but it may be, like, one of the few games that a lot of people play this year. And it's not a bad choice. And Through the Darkest of Times, which I had not heard of before looking at this list, but it looks cool, I guess.
What the fuck is this? What is it, Rocky?
Through the Darkest of Times?
Yeah.
It is a historical resistance strategy game that's basically you're playing as people who are trying to resist the Third Reich during its rise.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That sounds topical.
Right, and like that's why it's in this category. And apparently it's gotten good reviews. It's, relatively available. It's on effectively every console: Switch, PS4, Xbox, Android, iOS, Windows, and Macintosh. So if you have a thing that can play video games, you can probably play this. It's $15 on Steam right now, which means it's probably $30 on Switch, but it's gotten consistently good reviews. And it probably deserves to be somewhere else on this list, but once again, this is the first that I've heard about it, and it came out at the end of fucking January.
Yep.
I'm also like, here's something I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
You gather together a room, a bunch of critics, and you say to them, is Kentucky Route Zero one of the best games of the last decade? You're going to get largely a consensus that is true.
Right.
And so I don't understand how a video game that is considered one of the best games of the last decade, it comes to a close, the game rests, it is done. It comes to a point of completion, meaning it is now eligible for like so many different game awards, like which have arbitrary rules about like games having to be completed. It is now eligible to be voted for as Game of the Year, and we have a game which people like agree is like one of the best of the last decade, and gets included on like best games of all time lists,
Right.
Which is fucking consigned to this category.
Yeah. It's obvious what they're doing with Games for Impact. I can almost like picture it that it's just like there's one person in like various game publishing writing rooms. There's the one guy at the LA Times that just fucking loves Spiritfarer, and there's that one person at like fucking Vice that won't shut up about It Found, and they're just like, fine, we'll take this vote and we'll put it somewhere, because obviously there's passion around this, and not mentioning them would be a crime, but we're trying to do something specific with Game of the Year here. And it's just like, fuck you guys, honor the best games. That's what it should be about. If it's the best game, it should be there.
Yep. Rami Ishmael,
Right.
One of the guys who is, half of the former development house of Vlambeer, and a doer of cool things in the video game industry and an ongoing game developer, is posited something which I think is interesting, talking about like why he thinks Kentucky Route Zero is not represented in all of these other categories. And his idea is that he believes that the voting body for the Game Awards is U.S. centric.
Well,
and
it is mostly. Like, that's also like confirmed in the voting jury page.
Right. If you take a look at like the larger like world critical discussion for games this year, that like Kentucky Route Zero is part of that conversation, but because of the way U.S. media works, like we don't care anymore. So like, which I guess starts to like mirror problems like that the Oscars have, where like like up until very recently, like the idea of a foreign language film winning Best Picture was just like unheard of. It's like why people lost their fucking mind, when Parasite won.
Right.
And so, like, what's weird is it's like this isn't even... It's Kentucky Route fucking Zero, but just because of, like, the speed of, like, U.S. media, because we weren't talking about all of the pieces of it this year, and because of the way that this development cycle worked, like, no one can be bothered to write about it extensively in U.S. media this year. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, one of the best games ever, like, finished its publication cycle this year, but that's not going to net the clicks. If Found is a very, very good game, and I think that this is one of those games, like, one of those situations where, like, voting bodies are probably spooked to nominate a game which is primarily making its impact on mobile platforms. Like, If Found definitely made its biggest splash iOS and Android.
Something similar happened with Florence a few years back.
Exactly, And honestly, it feels like it mirrors the Florence situation almost exactly. And like, I loved If Found. It's a very good game, but like the biggest place it is on phones. It's one of those things where like at this point, like the only media outlet I can think of which is consistently doing good critical coverage of the good games that come out on phones all the time is Touch Arcade. You know?
Yeah.
Other outlets only cover a game if it breaks through the zeitgeist and it becomes like a Twitter thing.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, we have to talk about it because it's on Twitter. But like, Touch Arcade is actively seeking out good games on these platforms and like covering them. I feel like some of these are blind spots for me. I need to play Spiritfarer. Y'all cried. I should go cry too.
Have a feeling, man.
Yeah.
A feeling for your thoughts, Brian.
And I'm a Don't Nod fan. I think Don't Nod does good work.
Yeah.
So I should probably dig in to tell me why.
The next one's Best Ongoing, which I have feelings about, because I do like ongoing games. I think that's a sentiment that's shared on this show. There are things that we care about that, and it's good that when games get supported over the long term.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And some of these games definitely deserve to be here, and some of them, like, they could only be here if they're here. Like, No Man's Sky had a catastrophic release. But, you know, they kind of just, like, put their head down and kept working. And
they worked hard.
Yeah. And,
honestly.
like, they have a legitimately, like, great video game now. And if I remember correctly, the outside of the initial purchase price, I don't think they actually charge for the additional content at all. Yeah. So, like, they charged people $60 at the beginning, which felt like a ripoff for a lot of people. And then they spent like the next 3 years, like basically putting in all the stuff that they promised, which like essentially makes it a $60 early access, which can be however you want to shake that.
Oh, I tell you how I want to shake it.
But, it turned out to be like a actually legitimately great experience, especially now. Like, obviously people had to trudge through it at the beginning, and that's shitty, and it should probably never happen again. But, like, the only way that, like, No Man's Sky is ever going to get its flowers, like, in a critical conversation, is going to be in these kinds of ongoing conversations.
Okay. And I just want to point out that it's not that they put their head down for 3 years. They put down their head down for 4 years.
Okay.
This game is 4 years old. And, like, if they had been upfront with what kind of shape that game had been in, like, if they had been upfront and charged $60, I'd be fine with it. If they'd been like, you know what, this game is going to be everything we promised, but it's going to take like 4 more years to get there.
Right.
Please give us $60. There are people who would have been willing to go along on that journey.
That's true.
But the problem I have is that when Smilin' Sean went out there and did the talk show circuit, he openly misrepresented what was finished.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely did that.
And that puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, like, yes, where No Man's Sky right now does represent best ongoing game support, but it also feels like when this game was sold to people, that it was not sold as an ongoing game, that it was sold as, like...
It's a literal Puss in Boots, like, situation.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, this is a complete experience. And I also have another issue with another one on this list, which is Fortnite.
Okay.
Because, you know, like hilariously, Fortnite came out of beta this year, which was funny to a lot of people. But, like, part of the ongoing, like, Fortnite experience, like, there is a quote by a friend of mine, which I think is the best summation of the Fortnite experience, which is that the game that suffered the most from the success of Fortnite was Fortnite. Because there was a game that got released, you know, years ago, which was Fortnite, which at the time didn't require any kind of, like, subtitle, but was a game that focused on, like, horde gameplay mechanics, you know, where you and some friends would get together, pal around, shoot the shit, talk about stuff, and then, like, build fortifications, and then fight hordes of zombies together. And it was a great...
It was a much more chill version of COD Zombies.
Exactly. And it was something which had, like, a, you know, like, measures of creativity, because you were, like, building traps, but it was also something that, like, had space to, like, be laid back, because, like, you know, a lot of times, you know, the zombies wouldn't come in a lot of the modes until you, like, press a button or do a thing. And so, like, it really was a great knitting circle game. But PUBG happened, and Fortnite just like threw in like this like slapdash mode, like, and you could tell at the time that it was slapdash because they were like reusing assets. There is a bus that appears in Save the World,
Right.
and they just reused the bus from Save the World, now just made the bus fly. And like I wish because when they like said like, hey, we're going to stop putting like regular support into Save the World, it's like, when were you regularly supporting? Like, once you guys realized that there was money in the battle royale mode, you guys like slowed down support to a crawl for Save the World, and then when they eventually said like, hey, we're going to stop providing regular support to Save the World, it felt like insult to injury, because what had been provided as air quote support for Save the World for years at that point had been minimal. And like, I was a guy who shelled out real money when Fortnite came out. I was so excited for Fortnite. I spent $120 on Fortnite, because what it did was it got me like the full license for Save the World, and then 2 licenses I could give away to friends, and I gave one to Rocky.
It's true,
because I was pumped about this like horde gameplay. And then along came the battle royale, and the player base dried up, and the support dried up, and it's just like, basically I paid to watch a company pivot. And I realized that I am profoundly in the minority on Fortnite. That most people who came to Fortnite came to it as a battle royale game at this point. But there is a segment of the player population that is me. And if like what this category is supposed to represent is best ongoing support of the game that was offered, that's not what Fortnite did.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think Warzone deserves to be here. I'm just going to say that dead ass.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you're right.
I think like Warzone is something that kind of popped up, and maybe it's getting support in the way that like Activision is throwing a shit ton of money at it, but I don't think their changes have really been responsive to their player base. In fact, every day I have to filter through tweets of people screaming about skill-based matchmaking, and I'm not a defender. I will laugh at these clowns until the day I die. But if there's something about balance that like matchmaking isn't like making fair, or if there's something that's straight up fundamentally wrong with the way that their skill-based matchmaking works, because I know people yelled about it in Fortnite, but they don't yell about it anymore. That just doesn't fucking happen. And it's not because Fortnite's dead. It just fucking isn't. And like, you don't hear about it in Apex, and you don't hear about it in like PUBG. You only hear about these people screaming about it in Warzone. And maybe that's part of the Call of Duty player base. If that's true, that's still something that Activision needs to figure out, and they're just not. They're just letting them scream every day, and I gotta sift through it. I mean, it's a little funny, but it's also been months. If they're up for an award for best ongoing support, their player base should not be screaming this loud. Like, please control your children.
Yeah, that's accurate.
That being said, I don't play Destiny 2, and like Apex Legends, like ongoing support is fine. They're pretty cool. They're not my favorites. I have other favorites, but Apex Legends seems to be doing pretty good content, and they don't crunch. So, I'm going to let them keep doing what they're doing, but I don't know if that means they win this award.
I do appreciate the no crunch, though. I feel like that should be... I almost want them to win just because of the no crunch.
That's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. I feel like they should be rewarded for that, even if it's not in the way that, like, most people would think that's being rewarded. You know?
Yeah. I think they have a better claim than, like, most of the other people here because of their pasts. And like, Apex, the worst that they did was like, pay off streamers to like boost the popularity of their game on the first day. But ever since then, the team like Respawn has just been, doing the work.
Yep.
I'm torn about whether or not Hearthstone should be represented in this category this year.
Okay.
Because I feel like they have put out their best 3 expansions in years, and that overall the gameplay itself is the best it has been since year 1 of Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big deal. Is it just the Battle Pass? Is that the thing that's saying?
It is just the Battle Pass.
The Battle Pass, yeah.
It's just the Battle Pass. Okay.
The most recent change may have completely disqualified it from this category.
I am interested, not this year, but hopefully like next year and the year after that Genshin Impact fosters enough goodwill to end up here.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, the thing about the gacha is that it's gonna shake out ultimately. Like, they're gonna cash in on their whales because that's how fucking gacha works.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if gacha isn't an invasive gameplay experience overall, in the sense that, like, freemium gameplay is, like, valid and encouraged throughout, like, the game's design and its mechanics, and like the gameplay itself evolves in a way that remains interesting and entertaining for like years to come, I think they could find their place here and maybe not just on this list, but get there when we get there. Next thing is best indie, which but the indie games here are good, and my beef with it is that they shouldn't be sequestered to indies.
Yep.
Because what best indie category does is that it supposes that game of the year is essentially best AAA. Like it's specifically exclusive.
That somehow these experiences are less than. They're less polished.
And that's bullshit. Because Hades is also fucking here. But,
Right. And when I think about, like, audio design for this year, Carrion is, like, fucking flawless. Like, it creates this feeling of, like, spooky menace and, like, weird, crazy shit. And it's just so satisfying to hear your, like, gross, squishy flesh monster thing.
Yeah, it is good sound design.
It really, really is.
I don't know if that's best indie.
I'm not sure if it's best indie. Like, because... See, and also...
I feel like it should be in sound design. I don't think it should be here.
Also, the shitty thing here, like, I think Carrion should be in sound design, is that Hades is here, but also in Game of the Year. And if Hades isn't best indie, then why isn't it in the Game of the Year conversation? Like, why isn't Spelunky 2
right.
there?
Hey, I think we had a conversation about that a while ago.
We did, actually. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Maybe they'll figure it out,
So, like, that's another thing. There was also a conversation, which, we'll get to when we get to best sports game and best fighting game, that maybe, like, categories of, like, or, like, these various superlatives shouldn't be sequestered to, like, their primary, like, game mechanic. Because while previously that was a useful way to describe these kinds of games, now it's significantly less so.
Right.
Maybe we can talk about the things that the games simply do rather than what you do as you play them, which, is already covered in certain things like,
Like Spiritfarer in this category bothers me because it was also represented in Games for Impact.
Right.
And so, like, my question is what judges are supposed to be considering in Games for Impact is not the best game, but the biggest impact?
Right.
Okay, and if so, how do you measure that? And that's dumb. It's just
dumb. Yeah.
It is dumb. I'm glad we all agree that, like, this is a weird category. It's got weird crossover with other categories. Like, it's not... I dislike this. I wish this Best Indie, I want it to be all super small studios that have, like, minimal budgets. I want to see tiny I want to see Among Us in this game, in this category. Like,
well,
three people studios doing, like, I know, like, Among Us didn't come out this year, so it wouldn't qualify. But, like, that's the kind of thing I want to see in here. Small studios.
The thing about Among Us is the mobile version of Among Us came out this year.
Right, and that's why it's represented.
And so then that raises another fucking question, which is that the game did not appear in original release. Like, it is literally a port of the game that has cross-platform play with the PC version.
Right.
So, like, is Among Us getting mobile release, like, what are their benchmarks for, like, okay, well, this is a port, but, like, it appears in the mobile category. Like, what's the poop? Like,
honestly, if that was the barometer, Crosscode would have ruined the Game Awards. I swear to God. But, like, Crosscode's not
yeah,
here,
that's
so we'll
fair.
talk about it later.
That's a fair assessment,
exactly.
though.
And there are tons of games that, like, had ports this year, and it's so... It feels like the rules need to be clearer, and there needs to be a simplification of categories.
Right.
And a lot of categories need to get flushed down the toilet.
Yep.
Because, like, I look down to the mobile category, and I see that, like, Genshin Impact is in that category, and it kind of feels like Genshin Impact is in that category just because they didn't necessarily have the money to put up the kind of ridiculous marketing campaign that those AAA studios had for, PC and console games.
Which is a shame. Like, if they just waited a week, like, if the deadline was just a little bit later, they made them, like, $100 million in, like, 12 days, guys.
They really fucking made $100 million in 12 days.
Exactly. They could have sent out them fruit baskets.
Right.
But, like, as it is, like, I guarantee you, like, I've got a crystal ball right fucking now.
Mm-hmm.
There are only two ways that the mobile category can go, which is, one, Among Us wins it because there's no other place to vote for Among Us.
Right.
Or two, the crushing weight of like Nintendo's cultural footprint, like rockets Pokemon Cafe Mix to the top.
I don't believe that.
That's it.
Actually, I honestly don't believe Pokemon Cafe Mix has a chance.
Yeah, I agree. Not a chance in hell.
I think the real fight is between Among Us and Call of Duty Mobile. Call of Duty Mobile is fucking huge. And it's like international. Like not even like, sort of like people play in other countries, but it's mainly in the United States. Like it's like big everywhere and it's fucking dumb. Call of Duty Mobile like almost takes this like free, if not Among Us being present this year.
That's a whole mood.
Yeah. Legend of Runeterra is a good video game. It's also playable on PC. You don't have to play it on mobile, but the mobile interface is pretty good. So, yeah.
I feel like a category for best community support. I can't decide whether I hate the category on its face or the "we heard you" category.
So, like,
right. I can see it easily being interpreted as the "we heard you" category, but I'm not sure that that's what they want to do here.
Right. I think this particular category can do a lot of good. I don't like the way that it's specifically described here, which is recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. Like, if we're being honest, fucking Fall Guys' Twitter just memed all year.
Yeah, it really fucking did.
And there was plenty of times where Fall Guys was like part of what got Fall Guys a media footprint was how often the game was broken around release.
Right.
Because they were unprepared for the server load that they were encountering. And we're like, hey guys, you can't play Fall Guys right now. Like, Fall Guys is broken. And then like there were like various bugs and just like holy shit like things. And the only way that like their social media responded was like lol meme. And there was no way of knowing if they heard us until like something got fixed. And you're like, well, I
mean, I guess they fixed it.
Like, in the past year, also, like, No Man's Sky probably actually had a really good year in terms of community support and, like, communicating with the community and putting out new stuff and being responsive to, like, what players are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite and Valorant, I feel like, are only here because of the size of their audiences.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people that could be possibly screaming at them at once, the fact that they have a social media presence that is moderately responsive feels like a badge of honor, and I don't think that's what this category should be for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apex Legends, I don't even know anything about their like community outreach or how they really respond to like people. Like, I know some people yell at them on Twitter and maybe they get responses and whatnot, but like they don't seem to be doing anything incredibly above and beyond. And like, once again, I don't play Destiny 2, so I have even less knowledge of their like social media presence or the way that they interact with their players. But I do see people writing op-eds about Destiny 2 fucking up some shit like every couple of months, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm interested in like a couple of like community supporting teams that like either didn't have games that released this year or games that are going to release. Like, for example, Boyfriend Dungeon is a game that hasn't been released yet. It was meant to be released this year, but, COVID slowed everything down. And their community manager, Veronica Tran, is actually a really great community manager. Like, she's really responsive. She's, like, on every social media. She jokes around with people, but she also, like, intimately engages with like players who are concerned about the properties that she is like a steward over or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's at Inner Sloth, so she'll be running like Among Us's like community management. So like I hope that gets honored over the next year, because like Veronica Tran is actually very good at what she does. Also, the people that run the Temtem Twitter and like its subreddit and their Discord are also really good at what they do, but Temtem didn't release this year. Like, it's still like in beta and like early access. Right. It's supposed to go live early next year. So hopefully they get, their flowers once they're due. But like these people that are here, like they are like present because of their large audiences or because they joke around. And I think that like demeans what the idea of community support really is. And I'm not happy about it. I hope they do better.
Agree.
Oh my.
So we have another technology segregation category.
Yeah.
Which is like VR. And once again, there is a game which appears in this category, which has appeared in other categories, which is Half-Life Alyx, which like begs the question,
if this isn't the best one, why is it in the category?
Exactly. Like, why are we segregating by, like, platform? Mobile games and VR games, they're games, right? It's what we're fucking doing. And also, like, I kind of want to, like, slide back to Games for Impact for just a moment to make a point. I cannot think of a more dynamic, socially engaged, using the game itself as a weapon to advance social justice this year than Blazeball.
Baseball isn't anywhere, is it?
Nope.
Blazeball the game, Blazeball the community, Blazeball the advertisers. Basically, anybody who has touched Blazeball has been like, you know, be gay, do crimes, like, fucking all cops are bad. Like, basically, like, Blazeball has become this, like, incredibly loud platform for social justice in, like, the way it interacts with the world. But I guarantee you Blazeball did not send out any fruit baskets.
Well, yeah, they have no way to take your money, let alone spend money to, like, lobby influential people.
Yeah. I'm glad now that there is, like, official Blazeball merch.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that they're still like, hey, members of our community, make your own merch. We're cool with it. We'll never stop you. Blazeball is so fucking cool. Like, telling the fans to get out there and make money on the stuff. Like, yeah, do it. You want to make a shirt? Go for it. You want to charge money for that shirt? We don't care. So yes, like, Blazeball. Because when the protests were at their, like, loudest in June, they were donating to bail funds. When people were running out of masks in New York State, Blazeball was sending masks. Like,
It's true.
Blazeball has legitimately made a game for impact. The games that, like, they have listed here had a message in their narrative, but, like, Blazeball sought to, like, legitimately impact the world through social change. So I'm done now. Done.
For sure. Yeah, so VR AR includes Squadrons, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I didn't even know that was a VR game. Also, Marvel's Iron Man VR just sounds fucking rude. Like, who fucking did this? Are you kidding me? Phasmophobia should at least have that slot. Hell, even if VR chat didn't come out this year, the level for fucking 8800 Blue Lick Road deserves that spot more than fucking Marvel's Iron Man VR.
Right.
Jesus Christ. But, you know,
Right.
Whatever. Half-Life Alyx is going to win it anyway, so who cares?
And then I have questions about, like, well, what are they calling, you know, release cycles? Because I see Dreams is in here.
Oh,
You know, and Dreams has been, like, in quasi-release now for, like, over a year. And then I can see someone like, well, you know, VR chat's not a game. Like, well, VR chat is arguably not a game, but because of the way VR chat works, games happen in it. You know, people play hide and seek. People, like, make tools and play games. Also, yes, 8800 Blue Lick Road is a fucking game. And in VR chat, it's, like, most easily gamified. So, yes, do it.
Next one is innovation and accessibility. This is one where I can't actually shit on Last of Us Part 2, because I remember, like, whispers of this being included here, and it turns out that Last of Us did a lot of really good shit for accessibility. They really wanted people to play this game however they came to it, which is really cool. I don't know much about Valhalla. I know Grounded has some accessibility features that are pretty cool. I kind of wish Hades was here, and that sounds shitty of me to say because Hades is probably overrepresented in these Game Awards, but, like, Hades actually did some really cool stuff for accessibility. One thing that I really like about it is, like, the addition of a thing called God Mode, which I think we talked about on the show a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like, every run you die or whatever because of the protagonist's, like, divine, like, lineage. He's actually gaining strength every time he runs. So, like, runs get progressively easier because you have, like, better stats over time. And so, like, it sticks to, like, the game's design philosophy, which is that continuing to play the game will further enrich your experience. And even if you're having difficulty clearing things, God Mode helps you pick up the slack. And it happens organically. Like, it's not like you do something and all of a sudden it's suddenly too much. Like, it's just like over time you increment until you get through it. And if it ever does get to be too much, you can just turn it off. It's no harm, no foul. It's the whole thing.
Right. I know that there were, like, great leaps in Assassin's Creed Valhalla's accessibility in, like, ways that it handles puzzling, combat, and platforming, and, like, the accessibility is different for each. Like, having trouble, like, finding handholds on walls because of, like, you know, issues with your hands. Like, the game can, like, automatically find handholds for you on the wall, or if you can't get a like a clear shot with a bow again. Like it separates the different like gameplay mechanics. Like the different gameplay mechanics in Assassin's Creed are like distilled into like different difficulty resources.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's like stuff for like colorblind gamers, and then there's stuff for folks with other visual impairments. There's stuff for the deaf. Like they did a shit ton. In Grounded, they also include like accommodation for like different phobias because of the insects found in the game.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah. So like they accommodate people with like sliders for how you want different insect types represented for phobias.
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, if you don't want to see spiders, you can have spiders represented this way. And I'm like, that's really cool. That's neat. So it seems like there's definitely some broader accessibility, and I know that like Naughty Dog does a really good job with accessibility. One of the things that kind of like frustrates me here is that this category is specifically limited. Oh, I'm sorry. Allegedly, it's not, because it says it's recognizing software and or hardware
Right.
that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played. And I really think that looking at the stuff that Microsoft has done as a platform, Microsoft has really been like leading the way as far as like accessibility with their platform. Like the number of fucking things that you can turn on and adjust, you know, in the Xbox desktop to make it more usable, like scalable text size. Like there are things like now with the Xbox, like if like a game has a small text size which is hard to read, like the Xbox just will overpower it and you can make it just larger. You don't have to wait for them to fix it in Witcher. You can just see the larger text. They've integrated like good text to voice for tiles within the Xbox platform, and like all that shit is really great. Not to mention the fact that like one of the things that Microsoft has done with virtually all of their accessibility innovations is they're making all of their accessibility innovations open source and just sticking them on GitHub, which is how we end up getting stuff like the new Hori controller for Switch,
Right.
which is based on the open source design of the Microsoft accessibility. That's really, really great. Like the things that they're doing for accessibility are helping people across multiple platforms and multiple games. And like, if you're going to talk about, you know, innovation accessibility, saying it's hard software and hardware, but not really like recognizing stuff like, okay, well, technically Microsoft's desktop is software. Where is that? You know, like they've been killing it as far as like making sure that this is a place where everybody can be. Like, it has not just been lip service. And I am, you guys know that I am the first person to shit on a company when there is even the hint of deserving of it. But in that particular instance, Microsoft deserves great praise because not only are the innovations that they're making a more accessible space, they're sharing their resources with other companies.
Yeah, honestly, that just kind of spooks me about Microsoft's board, but we'll get to there when we get there.
Ugh.
Next is Best Action Game.
I don't care.
Are you sure? Because Streets of Rage 4 is right here, Brian. It's right here, Brian.
Okay. Let me explain why I don't care.
Sure.
When you watch the Oscars, is there a category called Best Crime Movie?
No.
Okay. Why is that?
Because it's all like mashed together with like, what is it? Best Drama or whatever?
Well, the only place you're going to see a distinction between Best Drama and Best Comedy is at the Golden Globes. Like at the Oscars, it's just like you get one category. It's Best Picture. If you don't make it into Best Picture, then like fuck you. Like I believe there's a Best Animated Film category, but like you're not getting in breaking stuff out into genre categories. Like some television awards will do like, you know, like light distinctions between like best like drama or comedy, but like when we do this, when we create genre categories, when we separate indie, when we separate impact, when we separate mobile, when we separate VR, all it does is, you know, make things like Streets of Rage, which should be represented in Best Music, not end up in Best Music.
Okay.
So these categories are designed to further isolate and diminish these games in order to make room for the Fruit Basket team who have a marketing budget.
I mean, I can see what you're saying, but also, like, there are a lot of action games.
Sure are.
And, like, and it's not even that, like, there's a lot of action games that are just, like, eligible this year. And there are definitely people who just care about action games.
Okay. But based on, like, the rubric and the logic that we've discussed so far on the show.
Sure.
If this category is not won by Doom Eternal, Hades, or Half-Life Alex, then, like, what's even going on with this world?
That's fair. That is a distinct complaint that is relevant to what we've been talking about. But I'm not sure that Streets of Rage 4 not being in Best Music, it's because it's in Best Action. I haven't actually listened to its score. I hope it's great. But, like, I don't know if I can point to this and say, see, this is why it's not in Best Music. Like, that feels like a disconnect there for me.
Streets of Rage score fucks harder than almost anything I've heard this year.
Okay.
It may fuck harder than anything I've heard this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to say go listen to it right now because, Jesus Christ, we've already been here for we've been here for 87 years. I'm about to go throw the fucking blue diamond into the ocean. But, like, Jesus fucking Christ. Best action. How about, like, best cooking game featuring a female protagonist? Or, you know, best game where an Italian who wears overalls jumps on reptiles.
So the next one is Best Action Adventure. We have some players that have not been represented up until this point. Specifically Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Technically the voice actor for Miles Morales was in Best Voice Performance, but they joined Ghost of Tsushima, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ori and the Will and the Wisps, and Last of Us Part 2.
I can tell you with 100% certainty Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order does not deserve to be here. It is here because it is Star Wars. It does not deserve this spot at all. It doesn't deserve to be mentioned. It's so bad.
Tegan, show me on the doll where Jedi Fallen Order
everywhere. It's so bad. Please no. Please don't make me suffer through another Jedi Fallen Order game. A game that should have been a completely different style game. I am so fucking exhausted of this game. I don't like it.
You didn't like accessible Star Wars Dark Souls, Tegan?
Oh my god, accessible Star Wars Dark Souls, fucking not accessible at all. Bullshit, bad game. At 0 out of 10 on the accessibility scale. This is so bad. Oh, I hate it. I hate it, please no.
Okay.
And, like, I know a Star Wars when I see one, okay? I have seen enough of the Star Wars. Like, this is just bad. Bad writing, bad gameplay, bad bad. One good robot, that's it. Ugh. Bad, no time.
I mean, if it's any consolation, it's probably going to lose The Last of Us Part 2 anyways.
I mean, it should lose to anything. It should lose to everything.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
Actually, it would be wild if, like, Ori and the Will of the Wisp won this one.
Oh, that'd be fun. I'd like that.
Okay, so the next one is Best Role-Playing Game, which is where Genshin Impact probably has its best chance of winning. Persona 5 Royal is also really good, and it's more than just an expansion. Like, it's the same game, which, you know, was already had, like, 200 hours worth of content? Yep. Now you get 250 hours of content with a third semester.
Yay! With a good character, though.
True. No, the game is, like, it's actually still good. It's just crazy long.
It's just crazy long, yep. It's good, though.
Who has time for this?
People, Brian.
Obviously, I do.
Oh, man. And then, you know, Final Fantasy VII Remake is here again, so, you know, that's probably an easy favorite. But here's the thing. Here's the take, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yakuza Like a Dragon probably deserves to win this category.
Yeah, it really does. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, it is lit. It's the first RPG in the Yakuza series. Like, if anyone's familiar with the series, they know that Yakuza is actually famously a action, like, combat game. But Yakuza... Go ahead, Brian. Just say it.
You know what? No, god damn it. We've already been here for 87 years. I was going, what is a role-playing game? When I realized that, like, that in and of itself, like, all right. I will concede your point because I think I know what you're saying, but it's the first one that has, like, traditional turn-based RPG combat. How about that?
Sure,
okay.
We can take
That's
that
fair.
too.
Yeah.
Because I would argue that, like, what you are definitely fucking doing in the minute-to-minute experience of a Yakuza game is role-playing.
Okay, yeah, but that means something different in the scope of video games. But I understand what you're saying. We don't have time to litigate it. Anyways, Yakuza Like a Dragon. not only is able to poke fun at, like, the goofy shit that RPGs have done for the past 20 years, which is delightful to fans of the genre, it also takes with it literally all of the good lessons outside of, like a speed up timer, but like the timing of battles is also like wonderfully balanced. And the jokes that it makes and the things that Brian, have you seen any of Yakuza Like a Dragon?
Yes.
Okay. So are you familiar with the summon system?
Yes.
Okay. Like there's Tegan, there's a thing that you can do where if you want to summon, like you pull out your phone and you call someone called punch mates, which will summon a mate to punch your opponents. And that's all it is. Like,
that
you just
is
summon a dude.
fucking amazing. I would like to hire punch mates, please.
Right?
I have a list.
Okay. Rocky, do you know why the game has turn-based combat?
Yes, because the protagonist like is really into Dragon Quest.
I didn't know you were the protagonist of this game, Rocky.
The protagonist is also into a unnamed kart racing video game.
Yes, it's also true.
Which means that Yakuza Like a Dragon has like just a 20 to 30 hours of content, like no shit, which is just Mario Kart.
No, it's not. It is a kart racing minigame. It is not Mario Kart, legally. It may as well just say, for legal reasons, this is not Mario Kart. Very big on the screen for every fucking Mario Kart section.
It's a me.
It's a me.
Not.
Totally not Mario.
Yeah. But when I see people saying that, like, Yakuza is the best kart racing game in years, like, blows my mind. But, like, that's also one of the things which is cool about the Yakuza games, is they've always been these, like, weird toys where you can just, like, find ways to entertain yourself for, like, hours with these, like, strange spirals where you're like, yeah, there's a whole thing over, like, did you know you could get really into, like, real estate in this game? You can, like, do walkthroughs and show the property yourself and, like, run the real estate office and decide who's going to be your receptionist and, like the whole fucking thing. And, like, that's Yakuza. And, like, that's neat. These games have always been... When I think about games that try to be all things to all people, Grand Theft Auto has always just felt like the golden corral of that, where there's just, like, a lot, but, like, so much of it is just not good. You're like, yeah, I could play this 9-hole golf course, but why would I want to? Yakuza, you're like, why would I not play this 9-hole golf course? Just like, if it's there's a lot of care and there's a lot of love in it.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I'm making an argument for needing to make time for Yakuza by the end of the year. God
you should. Yeah. Did I not add that to your list before? You should add it to your list, Brian. Come on, it's Yakuza. Get it together.
Yeah, honestly, it is Yakuza. I don't know why you hadn't already programmed time in your busy schedule for it.
Doing things like playing old video games on weird handhelds.
Yeah, well, that's your priority, and that's fine.
Okay, so the next category is Best Fighting Game. These are all new entries to the Game Awards currently. None of these have been previously mentioned. They are Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and Under Night in Birth EXE Late CLR. 3 of these 5 are actually iterations of an already existing game, and less so than I mean like normally, where like Street Fighter 4 is an iteration of the Street Fighter series. 3 of these games are straight up just like bonus editions with new characters, as opposed to like new like engines or new interactions, really. And that's embarrassing, honestly. But even if I put aside all of that, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, is an outrageous addition to this list. And it's only because the Game Awards were not brave enough to put Them's Fighting Herds here. Which, is the My Little Pony fighting game. But hear me out. It's a pretty fucking good fighting. It has all the bells and whistles, has an excellent tutorial. Everyone should play it if they're not afraid of being branded as a brony. And if you are, that makes sense. That's totally reasonable. I totally get it.
Don't be a coward.
Yeah. Just fucking get it together. Under Night in Birth CLR is not the best iteration of Under Night, and like I don't think it deserves to be here. Mortal Kombat 11 has a pretty good team behind it at NetherRealm, but like a lot of people are mad at it, and I don't play it that much. But Rambo looks good, so fuck with Rambo, I guess. Street Fighter V Champion Edition adds Gil, and Gil's insane, but it's because he was an actual boss and not really meant to be a fucking playable character, but there he is. And Grand Blue Fantasy Versus is an excellent fighting game that never really had the chance to develop an offline scene because of the coronavirus, and that is a fucking shame.
Okay, I'm sorry, Rocky, I do not know enough about the fighting game scene to have authoritative or meaningful input other than this.
The next category is Best Family.
Oh,
I'm kidding. Go ahead, Brian.
You motherfucker. We've been here for 4 hours. You're in my Cobra Club. You're in my Cobra Club.
Brian, I know. Also, this isn't going to be a 4-hour episode. I made a pact, all right? It's a blood oath. I'm not doing it again. It's 2 episodes, but whatever.
All right. What bothers me here,
mm-hmm.
we have games that are not new release. We have games here which are being represented because of some kind of expansion or ongoing support. And I'm like, all right, have it one way or another. Like, if these games had such magical support, why aren't they in the best ongoing game category? And if they're not there, then shouldn't the games that should be represented here only be games which are in new release for this year? So that way you could get things like them fighting herds represented. So, like, don't have it both ways. Like if you're going to have like something like a stupid arbitrary category which separates out a single genre, why does this one genre operate under different rules than every other category where the games that are all represented are games that are in new release for this year? But like for this one category, you have games which have been out for years, which are here because of their ongoing support. So like this category is dumb for multiple reasons. Is it best ongoing fighting game? Or is it best new fighting game? Like, whatever. Like, fuck yourself, best fighting game category. You're dead to me.
So, I think the reason that Them's Fightin' Herds can't be here is because it's technically not officially My Little Pony, right? Because didn't they have to redo all the sprites so that they didn't look like canon My Little Pony characters?
That is true.
Because they sued.
Yes, and they did. And they redid all the sprites, so it's not a My Little Pony game.
But it's, so it's not a My Little Pony game. You will not be branded as being a brony or a Pegasus or whatever the fuck you want to identify as.
A Pegasus?
For playing it. Pegasisters are the girl ones. Shut up. Shut up.
Oh, that's the title. I'm putting it down. Go ahead, Tegan.
It's not my fault. It's my community. I can call it what I want to. Anyway, but like, it's still a good game. You should still check it out.
Oh, oh my god. Okay. Jesus. Yeah, so the next one's Best Family Game, and I have beef with this for various reasons. But Animal Crossing New Horizons is here, which is also part of the Game of the Year conversation, so it'll probably automatically win. But Minecraft Dungeons is also here, which is actually a legitimately good dungeon crawler if you want to fuck with that, especially since there isn't a new Diablo. Crash Bandicoot 4 is About Time is here, and that's almost certainly because of a deal with Bob Activision. Fallout Guys, I guess, is a family game, but like, I don't know, it's a reality show. And
I thought Crash Out 4, like, Crash Out 4, fuck me, fuck me. No,
I like Crash Out 4. Crash Out 4 is great. It's my favorite caffeine simulator.
Fuck me, fuck you, fuck. Like, Crash Bandicoot 4, like, reviewed pretty well, but like, also this category is arbitrary garbage.
Yeah.
Continue, Rocky.
Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is barely a video game, and Paper Mario Origami King deserves way better than this, and I'm upset about it.
Yeah, Paper Mario Origami King does deserve better than this. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit shouldn't be anywhere.
Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is a pile of shit.
Yeah, that's why I said it shouldn't be anywhere.
Yeah,
but I'm the one who will say things others won't, and it's a pile of shit. And everything that has happened with that game, which is worthwhile, is because of the heroes out there who have got their little Marios driving around really inappropriate circuits and are capturing footage. That's it.
Best Sim Strategy is here. Crusader Kings, Desperados, both the third iterations of their respective franchises. Gears Tactics, for some reason. Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I guess should win. And XCOM Chimera Squad are all here.
I thought that this category was clearly won by Desperados 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
Probably because of the words best game. Like, I'm struggling with how Microsoft Flight Simulator is a game.
It's a game. People play it.
Well, I play with my balls, but does it make it a game?
I disagree. But, I mean, as long as there are rules,
There are no rules to my balls. My balls live in a world without rules.
I mean, I'm sure they're subject to gravity, but, go off.
Rocky, I'll fight you. We've been here for 4 hours. I have a BLT waiting in the other fucking room.
That sounds beautiful.
Have your assistant over there bring it to you and just eat it on the show like I do. Yeah. Fuck me. You're allowed to eat on the long shows.
It's true.
We have set this as a precedent. Christ. Best sports racing game.
Oh, I'm glad that they actually combined these, but this still sucks.
This does suck.
I mean, Tony Hawk Pro Skater should just win. I won't be taking questions.
It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, so it's 2 games. Like, that should just win already.
It's like the Return of the King. People have been waiting for that to be good again for fucking years. It was also one of those pandemic games where when it came out, everyone was like, whew, I have the thing to do, which is to pretend that my life is better and more simple again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that if at the time that if Nintendo had decided to re-release Melee during quarantine officially, they would probably have an entirely new set of pants made of money.
Well, it's too bad that they hate Melee,
and
they
really
hate the
Melee.
people that play it.
Alright. Best multiplayer.
Best multiplayer.
Best multiplayer. Animal Crossing should not be in here. It is barely a multiplayer game. Among Us is going to win.
Yeah.
Fall Guys, I would argue, isn't... I just want to argue against Fall Guys. I don't want it to be here.
I think Fall Guys is a video game, and I do believe it's a multiplayer one. I don't think it's especially great. I think it was a neat phenomenon.
Yep.
And I still dip in from time to time.
I do believe it's gonna ultimately end up Jelly Beans versus Jelly Beans, and the Among Us Jelly Beans should win.
Right. Also, Valorant and Call of Duty Warzone aren't great multiplayer experiences. Don't at me.
Right. Agreed.
This is a category where I say, okay, Activision, so I guess you only had one basket of money to give away.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, this is obviously a category where there is, air quote, ongoing games represented. Hearthstone, the actual experience of playing the game, phenomenal and incredible this year. There's shit you're doing in the game that you've never done before, and it's all fun. I guarantee you that Call of Duty Warzone, garbage. What the fuck else is going on?
Content Creator of the Year. So Alana Pierce has actually done a lot. So has Jan Lopez. Jan Lopez runs Black Girl Gamers, and so they've done a lot of great stuff this year. Tim the Tatman is actually a pretty good streamer. He's survived the past decade just playing various shooters, but he really took off this past year desperately trying to win a single game of Fall Guys. He actually got shouted out on ESPN. They were cheering for this one bald dude in his house trying to win this one multiplayer video game. And that was fun to watch. I don't know who Nick Merckx is. Valkyrie is cool, but honestly, I'd give it to Jan Lopez, if not Alana Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how in a year where he has produced more content than ever before, and it's some of his best content ever, and for all that he contributes to gaming's, the recording of gaming's history, how in the world is Jeremy Parrish of Retronauts not represented here?
I feel like game history recorders will almost never be recognized.
But the thing is that Jeremy Parrish is a special case. Retronauts is a thing that exists outside of the old game nerd circles. If you were to ask people about gaming podcasts, hey, what gaming podcast do you listen to? Even if all they listen to is gaming podcasts about new games, Retronauts will somehow slide in there. And he has this YouTube work that he does, which is entirely separate from Retronauts, where he's doing game-by-game explorations of the history of the NES, SNES, and Game Boy, called NES Works and SNES Works. And this year he's expanded those series to also discussing them contextually in history. You can't really understand the Game Boy without also understanding what was going on with the Atari Lynx and the Game Gear. And so he launched Game Boy Works Gaiden, where he's talking about the industry in a larger context.
I think the bigger thing for this particular category, I understand what you're saying, but I think the bigger thing for this particular category is what they consider a positive impact on the community. And that's why I don't think history recorders are going to make it into this category.
Historians are massively fucking important.
I understand that, but I do not believe that the people who are choosing this particular, the judges of this section, are going to choose a gaming historian. I think if you got actual, not just games journalists, but people who, value the gaming industry as a whole doing the judging here, I think that is when a historian would make it on here. But unfortunately, he's not going to make it. He's never going to make it on here until they change the judges pool.
Like, so Parrish also took a job as ombudsman for Limited Run Games this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because Limited Run Games has for years been promising that part of their mission is game preservation and game history, and that they would like provide a historical record for why they select every game they have for physical publication. And so like they launched that program this year with Parrish in charge of it, kind of like walking through the history of Limited Run Games, like historical releases, and talking about like why the games were selected and what the games meant in the context of the market of their original releases. So like he's been working triple duty. Oh, in addition to that, like he had books come out with Fangamer. Like he's just been like doing like an absolutely massive amount. And I think that one of the things that bothers me with this category is that like streamer is something which is thankfully pretty clearly defined.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, but content creator is like so like loosely defined.
It's really nebulous, sure. What about it?
Yeah, it's really nebulous, and it's like, okay, well, who are you looking at? Because there's also like enormous amounts of like fan artists out there, cosplayers, people who are arguably creating content.
I feel like all the people who are shown in this lineup are streamers.
Right, so then just call it that. Just call it fucking Streamer of the Year. Because if that's what it is, then call it that.
Right. That's what it seems to be.
If they do what we want, when they like carpet bomb like 9 or 10 of their categories because they're redundant or stupid, then you'll have room for new categories. So that way you could have fucking YouTube Dork of the Year, Cosplay Shithead of the Year. Like, you could have whole new categories.
I don't think Cosplayer of the Year would ever be a thing that came up here.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because the people who are going to have, like, the massive, like, super high-quality builds are going to be the people who are commissioned to cosplay from a certain thing by a company and have that company back, like, money sort of thing. You know? It's never going to be, like, an indie cosplayer or something. It's going to be someone like Jessica Nigiri or something that's, like, already well-established, like, put in their craft sort of deal.
Obviously, the Game Awards has no problem with just, like, filling their categories with like the most obvious targets, which have the largest corporate backing. So let's just create another excuse to like have Jessica Nigri stand on the stage.
Let's not.
Why would we do that? Come on, Brian, get your head out of your ass.
Let the world burn.
Oh my god. So the next one's best debut game.
Brian, you're not you when you're hungry. Go get your fucking sandwich.
Yeah, go get your sandwich. We'll talk about best
I
debut
will
game.
I will wait. I will wait for you to go get your sandwich. Please go eat. Go get your sandwich. Bring it back. It'll be okay. Alex is camping and he keeps sending me videos of like the fire crackling, and he sent me a nice shot of the lake they were fishing at. I didn't know he liked to fish, so like this is all new to me. He's having a good old time though, so that's fine.
Gotta have a fridge full of fish now.
Really?
Well, like it's in my freezer. Like I have salmon, flounder, and whiting, I think. So I'm trying to do a bit more Mediterranean thing. But I think I'm just going to redo the chicken parm because I left too much water on the breast and I could taste it.
Dang. It looked super good.
Thank you.
I did.
I've gotten better. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Brian.
Oh, God.
Feel better, Brian?
Don't burn the world.
We are on best debut game, I believe.
Right, best debut game.
Brian, you don't have to, like, wolf it down, just so you know. Like, you can have a bite and, like, take some time to chew. I'm not asking you to inhale your sandwich.
Just enjoy your sandwich, man.
Yeah, you can eat while we talk. It's cool.
It is a BLT submarine.
Nice. Okay, so best debut game. Carrion is here again, joined by 4 new players. Mortal Shell, which is, a newish Dark Souls, but it's from a new studio. They're pretty good. Raji and Ancient Epic, which is one of the first entries, a India-designed game entering the mainstream. Rocky, which I can't remember if is actually a strategy game, but I know I didn't actually play it, but I remember seeing something about it. And Phasmophobia, which is the horror game where you mess around with items to try to summon and capture a ghost, or capture, on film. And it's also playable in VR, so there's that.
That's the other reason that we needed a VR helmet this game.
I don't. Nope. No, we don't. No, we don't.
I played a bit of Phasmophobia. I didn't do it in VR.
Alex did it in VR.
Mm-hmm.
First, he punched me in the boob.
Oh, no.
If you're wondering how it went. 10 out of 10 on the spook scale, because I did, at one point, I did, walk by him, and he heard me walking outside of the thing, and, whipped around super quick, and I was like, hi, yeah, I'm going to change the laundry, and he was like, oh, right, okay. And then another time, I was trying to slide by him to get around him, to get to, where the PlayStation is, and he just turned around and punched me straight in the boob.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, ow! And he's like, oh, sorry!
Oh my god.
So, great time. Immersion, good. But,
yeah.
And I definitely, personally meant to fuck around with Raji and Rocky, and I'm not sure I'm gonna have time for both.
I hear Raji's actually pretty good. I don't think it's anything to write home about, but, I hear it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to see more from them.
Okay, here's a weird thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that this category is best served by this award show.
Okay.
There are definitely game awards that happen which are more industry introspective.
Mm-hmm.
Where the industry looks inward and...
Sure, DICE and whatnot.
Exactly. Those are the ones where I'm usually paying more attention to awards like this.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, media outlets are getting their, voting cards, and with something like Best Debut, nobody's played, 4 of them, or nobody's played, 3 of them. They're like, oh, shit, I don't know, this one. And so, as far as, this award having weight on this show, because these are media awards and these are games which have comparatively gotten little media coverage, I feel like this one will probably be Phasmophobia in a walk, possibly with your recount having Carrion, but only because Devolver has money to throw at marketing.
I could believe that.
It's a new dev team, but that dev team happens to be published by Devolver, which at this point is a large enough publishing house that calling them indie is kind of an arguable conversation.
Sure.
That's fair. Okay.
I think Phasmophobia, probably deserves this award. I don't think they'll get it in stride. Once again, it's still a one-man operation.
Mm-hmm.
And, even if he has, the money to throw at, publishing houses or, reviewers or whatever, he doesn't have the time, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We gotta go quickly over eSports Athlete. First of all, I'm not sure if these are the people I would have chosen, generally. I think Showmaker and Canyon are pretty talented in League of Legends. As for, Crimsix and Shotzi, I think they're household names, but I don't think they're especially, great. I can't beat them at anything. Don't get me wrong. But, if I had to point to someone and say, this guy's eSports, I wouldn't have pointed at either of these two dudes. And, Zyru's cool, but, I think it's more that he's kind of, grandfathered in, which I don't feel great about saying. But then again, 2020 hasn't been an especially great year for esports. That's all. Its own problem.
I wonder why.
Yeah. I know. But I don't know. Does anyone want to try chewing on this a bit?
Not really.
Okay.
I am not in a position to discuss.
Coaches are, also a similar thing. Krusty actually had a pretty good year with Overwatch League, but also, fuck Overwatch League. I swear to God.
I like how above is written out League of Legends, and down here it's just lol.
Yeah, right?
Lol, COD.
Who did this? Zephon grabs... I like Zeph, I don't like grabs. That's personal, but that's all it is. It's personal. I can't even really speak to, their impact over, esports as a whole, because esports is just such a, slippery thing in every instance, even in fucking CSGO, which people have been playing for about 2 decades, which is so dumb to say. How do we not be able to point, this is esports with a game that's been around for 15, 20 years? And it's just, it's infuriating. I hope that, whoever they end up pointing out to be the esports coach, I hope they do a better job of making these people household names or whatever. But then again, as far as coaches go, I'm not sure how much accolades they really deserve, because we're not really gonna see a Hall of Fame show where fucking Bill Belichick or fucking McCarthy, who coach for the Packers, are ever gonna end up in one of these big like Hall of Fame conversations. There'll be like the water cooler things, the barbershop talks or whatever, and like the people will know them, but like they don't get accolades at these shows. That's not what they're for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ, whatever. Esports is still a thing that clearly needs to be figured out, which brings us to the next thing, which is best esports event. And I watched 4 of these. I didn't watch the Call of Duty League Championship, but I watched Katawuchi, I watched Blast Premier, I watched the League of Legends World Championship, and I watched the Overwatch League Grand Finals. I feel like the Overwatch League Grand Finals maybe had been the best esports event, I think, as far as what I think esports should be, like as like a viewing experience. I think the CSGO events had the best competition, and in League of Legends, where the competition was extremely lopsided, had the best pregame show, but I think that's just trying to be in China. So, like, I don't know. Esports doesn't make sense yet, and I don't think we have a real way of pointing out what it is, let alone saying which of it is the best.
How many of these happened before the world ended?
None. League of Legends World Championship actually happened in China. They made a whole to-do about flying in players. We talked about it on the show, but you weren't here. They were made a whole to-do about making sure that anyone that would show up were like previously quarantined, tested every day, and then brought into China. There were a couple of teams that simply could not guarantee negative test results of their players, and they simply could not come. And they were like, you know, essentially paid out as if they had made top 13, and that was the end of it. But they basically played like the entire thing in isolation. The League of Legends final actually took place in front of a crowd at their new soccer stadium. And that was when this like pictured like show happened. The Overwatch League happened in like August, September. It was completely sequestered. The matches were pretty good and they focused mostly on that. They never had a live crowd, but they had shoutcasting and all that. Mm-hmm. Katawuchi, I believe had a socially distanced crowd, but I don't remember it happening stateside. I think it was a place where, I think it was like an Eastern European country where like they had COVID mostly under control. The Blast Premier had a similar thing, but if I remember correctly, they either had a limited crowd or no crowd, but it was happening like in April, May. So like it was a different situation. I didn't watch Call of Duty League, so I don't know what the fuck they did. Yeah.
Yeah, like this feels like a category you dropped this year, but that's COVID makes things dumb.
True.
Or bad.
And back to the top of the cake or whatever. Best esports game. And we have 2 of the games that were actually represented in any of the esports events, like best player or best event or best coach, which are Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, CSGO, and League of Legends. Valorant was also there, but Valorant's just new. And like, it's definitely doesn't have a shape enough to be considered anything like esports really. Like it's not organized. Competitions aren't put together in a way that are designed to be like sport of spectacle. At best, it might be sport of competition, but we're still trying to figure out what the competition means, even if it's still like a CSGO clone. Fortnite cannot be the best esports game. There's just no fucking way, because like the way that Fortnite competition works out is neither like spectacle or competition, especially with like how like rampant cheating and the way that like Epic has no tools to adequately control it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare suffers similar problems, but with a larger player base. And what that mostly takes the form of people screaming out on Twitter. And that is even like without a true like ranked mode. Like that's also one of the big problems with skill-based matchmaking, is that like there isn't like a casual mode and a ranked mode. Like whenever you're playing Warzone, you're on a ranked queue and you're playing according to your ranking. You're dragged up and down like specifically because of your performance. And there's no like ranking agnostic way to play that game. So like I'm fully willing to say with my entire chest that 3 of these games aren't even fucking esports yet, and the 2 that are here are fine. And Jesus Christ, I guess I'd say League of Legends. I don't like Counter-Strike definitely has like the history, but like I don't think they've been showing the best competition over this past year.
Yeah, I'm willing to agree with that, honestly.
And like League of Legends outside of like the world stage, because Worlds is like crazy lopsided between like Asian countries and Eastern Europe and like the NA in like South America or whatever.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, like, they always put on a good show, but, like, the good show doesn't start until all the, like, American teams get out of there.
Right, yeah. Yeah. At least, until we start importing, like, Korean players to, like, marry struggling actresses.
Yep.
Which I still think is something we should do, but,
We can do it. I have faith.
Next is Best Esports Host, which we have Alex Golden Boy Mendez, Alex Machine Richardson, Effie Shocks, De Portere, I always fuck that up, James Dash Patterson, and Jordan Sheaver Vander Hayden? Sheaver, I don't remember which game she actually cast, which is, bad enough. Dash and Jocks are both from League of Legends. Jocks probably puts in a lot more work, but Dash dresses better, I guess. Golden Boy and Machine are fine. They are dudes that speak into microphones while video games are playing.
Are you kidding? Golden Boy is the fucking best. Golden Boy in a walk.
Okay. You want to state your case, Brian?
Okay. The only one of these people who has been successfully, scientifically transplanted into other environments to call things outside of eSport and done it in a way where he comes across like a functioning adult is Golden Boy. Golden Boy got plucked from the world of eSports to call the Titan games for Terrock.
Mm-hmm.
And he absolutely shined. Absolutely shined.
Okay, so you're just making a competency argument here?
Well, is best most competent?
Okay, no, but this is what I'm saying. Like, if you took Jacques and told her to, like, you're casting soccer this week, she could do it. It's not an issue. Like, it's not even confusing. Like, League of Legends is more complicated than soccer anyway. Same thing with Dash.
Okay. And I suppose that, like, that one of my earlier was, like, I did consider that Jacques. That I was like, okay, maybe not Golden Boy in a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Golden Boy in a photo finish.
Maybe. I can see that.
But part of being a good caster, part of being a good host, is a warmth and an ability to connect with an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that requires more than just knowledge of the called sport, regardless of what the sport is.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
You have to be able to get people to care about what they're seeing. And that is something I think Golden Boy does very well.
Sure.
And I have yet to encounter anybody who's been able to convince me that the League of Legends I see on my screen is important League of Legends.
Well, like, it's because you don't watch LPL. Like, to be honest. Like, there's... I mean, maybe you do watch LPL, and if you do, I apologize. Or even, like, LCK. But, like, North American League of Legends is an important League of Legends. Most of EU League of Legends is also not important League of Legends. But, like, the things that are happening in China and, like, Korea are... And, like, we don't talk to most of those people. And sometimes, like, they borrow people from the States for, like, their English translations, like Jacques. And sometimes Dash. But, like, like, if you're not looking for Chinese or Korean League of Legends, it's not just going to show up on your screen. That's not how that works.
Okay. So, you're saying that the reason that they have not been able to convince you that the league I'm seeing on my screen is important is because the league I'm seeing on my screen is not important?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. How many different games has Golden Boy called?
I'd have to look at a list.
Yeah. Like, I know he has called a lot.
Okay.
Like, he was calling just about everything for Jabali's fucking tournament.
Yeah.
Jabali brought him in and had him, like, calling a whole bunch of shit. So he was calling Street Fighter, calling Tekken, calling Smash. He's called a wide variety of games.
I mean, also, like, I do want to say, because, like, EVO didn't happen, like, we did lose opportunities to hear from, like, Ultra David and Tasty Steve.
Yep.
And even, like, Sayjam. And, like, any of those three would be welcome on this list. Like, I don't even know why Machine's here. Deadass.
Absolutely agree. Like, because one of the reasons I am able to jump into EVO as a viewer every year is the good casting, the good hosting. Like, that's where, like, I don't think it can be undersold how important that is. Like, I have, like, a very rudimentary grasp of how things work in fighting games, but, like, they have a way of engaging the viewer in a way to, like, make you feel like you know more than you do and make it feel more exciting. And just, that's something which I guess I really struggle with like, North American League of Legends casting, where I'm just like, okay, whatever, I guess that guy's doing a thing right now.
We've also yelled about this.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation about that.
Brian wasn't here.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
we did have a whole thing, and we did also put it on the Instagram of like, this is what we wish League of Legends casting did, and why doesn't it do that?
Right.
And anybody who's looking to getting into game casting, please understand that what's missing is not shouting. It is not shouting.
It is absolutely not shouting. Please do not shout at me.
Oh, I actually have a presentation on this, on what makes a good, well, I guess I could expand it to video games as a whole, but it was specifically about fighting game casting. Yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like a 3-minute thing. I did it at Joe's presentation party.
Ah. Okay, so I guess it turns out we cared more about that category than we thought. It also could be that I ate.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Brian.
Told ya.
Best esports team, I do want to say. Also, I don't even remember, I can't even remember if any of the other choices, with the exception of Damwon Gaming, even won their respective tournament this year. I mean, G2 definitely did well, in the EU, which they always do, because they have a great organization, they have a pretty talented team, but they got washed against, these Korean and Chinese teams, and it wasn't close. They got bullied. It was dumb. And, I don't watch Pro Call of Duty. I don't even think San Francisco Shock won this year. No, actually, I think they did. And I don't know anything about Team Secret because I don't watch Dota.
It also feels like this category, which has previously been more representative of teams which are gaming houses where there are people in the house who play this game, people who play this, something like Cloud9, where you have people on Cloud9 who are
in everything. Yeah,
exactly. It's easier, and unfortunately we're getting away from that because it was very easy to get behind esports teams when, regardless of what you followed,
you could find a representative from a team you recognize.
Exactly. And I follow Hearthstone, and I love the Hearthstone scene. I would know my people, I'm okay, Hafu's over here, Saviz is over here, Kripp is over here, and then, Disguised Toast betrayed us all and left. But
wait, Disguised Toast used to play professional stuff before he just streamed Among Us?
Yes.
Huh.
Disguised Toast? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Huh.
You're...
I just started watching him on YouTube.
Yeah, Disguised Toast started out as a guy who gimmick was he understood Hearthstone better than Blizzard did.
Right.
And he would just show up to tournaments wearing this mask, which was a piece of toast with sunglasses, and not unmask in the tournament and then break the game.
Oh.
And then even if he didn't win the tournament, he would get attention Disguised Toast figures out a way to make a turn go on infinitely, something like that.
Yeah.
And so he kept on catching bans from Blizzard and whatever, until eventually they reached this tete-a-tete with him where they're okay, we won't ban you, but if you find something that outright breaks the game, can you let us know first before you put a video out, or you do it in a tournament, or you do it on Twitch? And he's fine, but but he eventually decided that Activision Blizzard was a shithouse and that Hearthstone was dead inside, and he left, started playing a bunch of auto chess, and then he decided that auto chess mostly sucks, and went off to Among Us.
Well, Brian, you're missing in between there at some point. He apparently hosted a show on Twitch called Blind E-Dating?
Oh, yep.
Oh my god. This is legit ridiculous. I'm going to stop reading about this. I'm not going down this hole. Best esports team is the last thing on the list. San Francisco Shock did win the Overwatch tournament. Jesus Christ, I don't know why I forgot that. But G2 definitely didn't win. Dallas Empire, I guess, won. I don't know anything about Team Secret. But I think esports as a whole is underbaked. And having them here feels awkward at best.
Yep.
But I agree that they have to start doing it at some point. And if they start now when it's awkward, then maybe they'll have better footing when they need to, I guess. That's a train of thought that I understand. I did not expect this to go on for 2 hours. And I was hoping that we'd be able to poke fun at the voting jury. But I don't think we have time because this has been insanely long. But I do want to say that the voting jury is overwhelmingly stateside. There are representatives throughout the world, not just through English-speaking countries and whatnot. But even so, their numbers are definitely scattered in comparison to the consolidated United States representation. I am not sure how the rest of this is going to shake out, but The Game Awards obviously has room for improvement even at this nominee stage. I think it'll still be a pretty good show. Hopefully I can talk these two into streaming it with us on the channel so you can watch it with us or whatever. Or at least one of us will be tweeting it. So there's also that.
Yeah, man. It has been a very long show.
Oh, this is 2 shows. This is the second show as far as anyone's concerned.
Yeah, this is the second show. This is part 2. I know we've said that a couple times, and you keep saying that it's 1 show, but it's not. It's 1 recording session, 2 shows.
2 shows!
You got 2 for 1 special. Congratulations!
So, guys, I know it's 2 shows, and you'll definitely see that, but there's only 1 ending, and it's this one. This has been our show. It's called Impossible Coin. We do it every week. We don't do this every week. This is a very, very special occasion, and we're glad that we're able to share it with you. Plug. You stepped on your plug?
It's been so long that I don't even remember what the taste of delicious homemade wine or cider is like. I'll have to start from square one, but it's easy to start from square one because Brucey has a kit available for $39.99 that will get you 3 of the unique valves which expand to seal the throat of any bottle type up to 1.5 gallons, and 3 of their unique genetically modified yeast, which will allow for you to ferment cider or wine in 3 days. And after just 2 days of chilling in the fridge, you have delicious homemade wine ready to go. So if you've been sitting here over the course of 4 hours and 2 days, maybe now's the time to think about doing something different. And let that thing which is different be making your own wine. And while you're at Brucey's website, maybe check out their new premium beta bags, which are calibrated to give you the best possible results for types of wine. Want to try and make your own Cab Sav at home? Want to make a Pinot? Well, Brucey has got yeast and sugar combo bags, which are now specifically calibrated for those wine types. No additional calculation necessary. No need to add sugar. Give them a go. And you can get 15% off because Impossible Coin sent you. Hit brucey.refr.cc/Impossible Coin and get 15% off. Honestly, tell them Brian sent you.
I should probably just put that on the link tree. I think that's probably the simplest thing we could do. Well, anyways, this has been our show. It's available wherever podcasts are found on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Guys, can you hit the thing for me, please?
Fuck SoundCloud!
Fuck SoundCloud.
And speaking of SoundCloud, friend of the show, kid brother of the show, Big Sus, the man, the myth, the legend, produced the music at the beginning and end of these 2 separate episodes. You can find him on Twitter at Hillary_Swank and thank him for his good work. Our logo is also a t-shirt. It's designed by Lauren Moran. You can find her on Twitter at Lauren Moran and consider donating to her Patreon. And speaking of Patreons, we got one of those too. It's at patreon.com/Impossible Coin Podcast. That's where you can find our bonus episodes like our watch-alongs, our audio essays, and other good stuff. And you can support us for as little as $1 a month. It's a nominal fee. If maybe just consider it. That's all I'm asking.
Think about it. Even when we don't have extra episodes, that $1 a month will get you access to our show notes. Wild.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, we're on social media. There we go. We're on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram because they're all one thing now. Brian's on Twitter. Tegan's on Tumblr. It's all Impossible Coin.
No underscore spaces or anything like that. If you see imposters, say something. Call an emergency meeting. Let us know. We will handle the business.
That's us. That's the show.
Guys, I'm so sorry, but I just found out something during the link list, which is that a fucking In-N-Out burger opened today in Colorado and there was a 12-hour wait for the drive-thru.
Classic.
Seriously, it was visible from helicopters in the sky. Fuck this. Let the world burn. I love you all. Peace.
Bye.